Sculpture is perhaps logic's most sophisticated synthesizer. Rather than using subtractive synthesis principles as the ES1 and 2 and ESM and ESE and ESP do, instead it uses the idea of physical modeling, the idea of creating a vibrating string made of nylon or wood or steel or glass. And what we're going to do today is, rather than go into the idea of how this instrument works from the ground up, instead what we're going to do is to work out how we can create animated sequences using the Morph square. Now you can see the material section in the middle of this instrument shows us what this instrument is made of, and by default the sound sounds a bit like this. So you can hear that without any other sound design possibilities at all, simply changing the material dial, or this square at least, the ball within the square, allows us to hugely vary the amount of sound change this thing produces. Now the Morph window allows us to basically create snapshot points anywhere around the square, and I'm choosing this square shape here, which allows me to basically create snapshot settings for the A, B, C and D points around the edge of this square. So what I can do is to go up to the A point and say I want the material ball to be up here, and I can match that over here in the wood section and so on and so forth. So I'm going around and basically just mapping different points to each of the 4 targets, and when I then click on them I can see where the ball will be when the sound reaches that point. And now what I can do is to use this red ball to take me around that square instead. So now that I've mapped those points, and of course I can put those maps anywhere, what I've got a chance to do is to use this little red ball within the Morph window to do my sound design for me. But I want to make that little journey part of my sound, to record it as an envelope. Well, I can do precisely that by dropping down over here and arming this little red record light. And now when I play a note and move the red ball, the journey will be recorded. And when I press stop, or press the little record light again, you can see the little pathway that I drew. So you can see where the red ball moved to and the pathway that it took. And now when I play the note, we'll hear that that movement has been captured as part of the sound. And you can see that when I then trigger that sound, that little pathway is traced all over again. Now so far I've been quite literal with my movements. A, for instance, represents the top left hand corner by default, but of course there's nothing to stop me moving these targets, so now I'm changing A so it represents a more glassy type of sound instead. And when I actually click on the ball, you can see there are red dots all over a series of parameters, and what they show me is which individual parameters can be made into a snapshot for each of these individual points. So what I mean by that is that as well as the material dial changing, I might choose to change the media loss or the tension modulation, or the amount of cutoff frequency change at any one of these individual points as well. So what I'm doing now is going around and assigning different assignable or automatable parameters to each of those points. And once I've done that, what I can do is to scale the rate at which this happens. So I'm scaling this back so it's all a bit quicker now. So you can hear that filter change in the beginning of that sound. So you can begin to see that even though we haven't really touched on all of the amazing things of which Sculpture is capable, we are just beginning to see that we can get sounds moving using the Morph window quite quickly.